Here's Greg Ellis talking Mazi Smith here.
Maz, you do have to look at the coaching change. The year before we got there, it was more just vertical, get up the field, get up the field, get up the field. Really not Mazi's game, to be honest with you. I think he played better last year. He flashed some good stuff, in my opinion, but he kind of showed why the Cowboys drafted him, what they saw. Now we switching up again, and from my understanding, this again, more vertical charge. But hopefully they factor something into the equation to allow Mazi's superhero ability to flash. If not, you may need to just trade him.
Wow. I like what Greg's doing there.
I'm sure there's a lot of buyers on Mazi Smith right now. Do you think you get a player to be named later? Cash considerations, the cash being the 5-ski that Broadus is going to put on the Nick Saban return to LSU.
Yeah. I think teams would say back, we'll wait until you cut him. You know, we're not that hot on him. Is there any chance here, Brian, for Mazi Smith?
Well, if you watch the games that he played against division opponents, that's your hope. I mean, if I was a pro personnel guy and I was trying to sell him to our staff, I would say, here's the cut-up I did of him playing against the world champs for a couple of times, and here's against the Commanders who were in the finals, and then here's against the Giants, and try and show that kind of film about him and, put together a pretty good reel. Yeah, I mean, you could sell him that way. But the problem they're going to ask you about is consistency. That's, well, what about the other games? I'm like, well, this is who he is right now.
How about to Greg's point of him playing a different style than what he was best at? Can you on a
well, he was always a two-gap guy.
Yeah.
And coming out of Michigan, that was a problem, and that's why he lost all that weight, because he was hearing how he wasn't quick enough. But at Michigan, he played that scheme where he came off the ball, he extended into the blocker, he looked inside, he looked outside, and then he reacted to the ball. Michigan, if you watch their guys, which we did, and they had some really good defensive linemen this year, they played up the field. It's a completely different scheme than what they had played in the past years. And so, with Mazi, it's just about getting more consistent of trying to put plays back to back, not have one or two good plays and then 2 or 3 bad plays in a row, or plays where he's not a factor. That's the biggest problem with Mazi, is he just can't play to a level where it's just like it's like a series of boy, that was good Mazi Smith football right there.
I think, and I don't want to crush him for the quote, but there is something to him saying whenever it was rookie year, whenever, I don't even really like football. I just like hitting people.
No, that's the problem. And I think this is where Will McClay and the staff, and there were some questions, and they might have taken a guy in Guyton the same way that might not have liked football, and there were some questions about that. And so there's, I think Will McClay and the staff got together and with the coaches and kind of said, listen, we need to take, Will even talked about it pre-draft meeting. He made it a point of emphasis about, hey, what we're looking for, and get back on that train of getting guys that do love football. But
Tyler Booker said, hold my beer and watch this.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and the entire draft class was all about that. Captains and high character guys that love the sport.
That's if it's a hard game. If you don't love the game, it's a hard game to play.
I think Greg Ellis saying Mazi's superpower, to me, his superpower coming out was his strength and his power. Yeah. And I think the Cowboys did him a disservice. And Will McClay might be driving around listening and saying, go F yourself, Wooly. But they immediately talked about him having untapped pass rush potential. I don't really care about Mazi's pass rush. If he developed that, cool, awesome. But I think they were kind of asking him to do something, and maybe in his own mind, he started focusing on this, and that's not a strength of his, is getting up the field and being this wiggle guy that can go and, it
How
be
that
Osa,
happened was weird.
right? It's I'm a power player. I can take on blocks. I can stop the run. I'm a true one-tech, and him losing weight was like, what's happening here?
Yeah.
And he did it so he could get faster and fire off the football.
Get quicker, yeah.
So, I do think, hey, whenever you're dealing with position coaching changes, all of that can be tough on players. There's a lot that goes on. I think he beat himself up mentally, too. We heard about that all last offseason.
He's a very emotional player, and he gets very sad because he hears people like us talk about how poorly he plays, and it affects him. And, he could be in the locker room, after a game, it could be after a win, and he could be over there, with tears coming down his face because he knew that maybe there's some things that he didn't do right, and that's going to be critical of him. And It's just it's. They
See,
really
I don't
they
need
try.
you to love. I don't need you to love the sport. I just need you to fight that feeling in your own
Yeah,
body.
well, that's hard
I
for
can't
him.
Feel like that again, so I'm going to try harder.
It's hard for him to do that. And that last year, Zimmer and Jeff Zagina and Greg, everybody that got a chance to coach him at training camp would walk up. They'd put his arm around him. He'd come out to practice early. They'd work on his hands. They'd work on his technique. They really stopped like yelling at him. There were times we're standing there in the end zone and you're watching the drills, and coaches before would be yelling at him, and then they learned that they can't yell at him because he immediately goes into a shell.
Yeah,
Like
you could tell when that happened last year. Like they all started talking about him positively.
Yeah, everything.
Like, this is great.
Micah would be coming over and talking him up.
Everybody knew that. Like, listen, for this guy to have any kind of a chance, it was going to be about positive talk.
And I could be positive about him if last year under Zimmer had been so much better, playing that two-gap technique. But now that we know last season happened and all you got was a handful of games against divisional opponents that were slightly better, but still his overall performance was very poor, I just think it's time to move on. And I wouldn't waste a roster spot on him. I think is where I'm at. Okay, veterans reporting to camp on the 21st. So what do we have here? We have 6 days. Mm-hmm. They're going to be preseason game 1, August 9th, just to set that out there. And this is my topic for you. How much should we see the starters in these preseason games, considering how much new stuff, how many new players they have? Is this the year we're actually
disappointed?
We see a bunch?
Be disappointed if they don't. I mean, I don't think they could come out of the gate and the offense not be ready to go. If they decide, well, we're not going to play Dak and not going to play this, I think that Andy Reid and I used to be the biggest wuss about this. Listen, I can't replace these players if you get them hurt. I can't do it. But this season, really being the first one for Schottenheimer, he does need to set the tone here, and it doesn't need to be okay. We're going to hold everybody back and see how things work in the opening game, and then then week 5 we're all complaining because the offense isn't any good. Yeah. It's because they haven't looked like they practice any. That's always a question. They don't look like they practice out there. Does this team practice when you watch? I've had guys watch. Mike Lombardi does to me all the time. He goes, "I'm watching your film. Do you guys practice down there?" Yeah. He would ask me that question, and I'm like, I get to watch 15 minutes of it. I assume they do, but that's. They do need to 1 or 2 series and maybe even a quarter. Yeah. They've only got 3 of these, and they got a scrimmage against the Rams, which they'll try and take advantage of, but they need to do it.
I'm with you. I was thinking a quarter, and especially this year, how important I think it is to get off to a good start with how tough that schedule could be. I mean, things can change with the rest of the NFL, but you got to come out and be ready to rock. You can't be kind of getting into form and, we're kind of playing ourselves into shape and into speed here. You need to be able to come out and possibly upset the Eagles week 1.
Yeah, I think it's huge for Tyler Guyton. I think every rep for Cooper Beebe is massive as he tries to take this big step. And you have a rookie right guard. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Dak needs to be out there, but I feel like you're moving from a lot of inside zone to maybe gap. Just that difference. I want 2 or 3 games of my starting offensive line. I can't get that, but I could maybe get 2 or 3 halves.
Yeah. I definitely think they should be playing more than what they're used to playing. I think Dak should be playing.
I think Dak should be playing too.
I think he needs to.
And I don't know if it's like, hey, you have one like dress rehearsal game where you're playing like a full half or 3 quarters or whatever, or if you're just playing a few series or a quarter in like each game, whatever it is. But you see teams, isn't the
Chiefs play all the time?
Yeah, the Chiefs are the Chiefs are the team that are legit.
Well, the thing about it is you got 3 games. In the last game, they don't play any of the starters, so you really got 2 games to kind of figure some things out. And
would you like a one game where they play quite a bit,
sure,
or maybe 2 games where they play like a quarter each?
Yeah, give me the game. I think they play They have the Rams, Baltimore, and Atlanta. Give me the Baltimore game, the second one.
Game.
That's good. Some really good competition at home. They're probably playing some of their starters for a good bit. You could probably get a better idea. I would go for the, maybe keep it kind of light against the Rams to start the thing, but then the Ravens, go for it, because then you give them that 3rd game off, and then you got 10 days. Well, you're playing the short week, because of the early Thursday game. I think you got to, you'll be fine if you get that Baltimore game done.
Alrighty, it's the Gbag Nation here on 105.3 The Fan every afternoon at 3:20. We give you the CNOTE here, the Cowboys news of the evening. I'm loaded, man. I have all kinds of topics here for you. Should Dak get sloppy like Mahomes or Brady or Goff? Like, is being shredded and explosive actually what's in his best athletic interest right now? I don't know. I think there's a debate to be had there. We'll get into that a little bit later on.